I'm in pain, Ronan, and I'm going to complain about it. We are live now, so people that are tuning in just get to hear me whine about my arm hurting.
Lucky them.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
Like, you broke your arm in a, like, holy crap, awesome fashion. I am old and just woke up in pain. Like I did this epic thing and fell off my bike doing something rad. My bones hurt because it's raining. And it's just, ow.
You need to drink more milk.
Valid. I can't even argue with that. Hello, welcome to Reels in the Round with Ronan and Kirk. This week, my daughter Piper. Hi, Piper. How are you today?
I'm good. Hi.
Ever been on a live podcast before?
Yes.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
One of mine?
Yes.
Man.
Good father, shut up. Which one?
I can't. I remember. But we did like a game.
Oh, I'm sorry. You absolutely... Yes, I'm sorry. Those were more game... That was on my Twitch. Were you ever on the show, like Nerdy News at Noon? Or were you only ever on the show? Over on the gaming?
I was at Nerdy News at Noon every once in a while.
Okay. No, so you've definitely been on one of my live shows. So you understand how it goes. People are live. People are going to say things. Most of them are cool. Not you. You know who I'm talking about. Good. So this week we watched...
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre.
Yes.
My Libre.
Your Libre? No, Nacho Libre.
Yeah, Nacho Libre. My Libre. Dem nachos, dem mine. Anyway.
I just can't win.
Yeah, no. So, Ronan.
Yes, Kirk?
How was it?
You want my honest opinion?
I do.
I liked it. I enjoyed myself with it.
What is wrong with you? Like, so full disclosure up front. I do not know Jared Hess personally, but I do know basically everyone that worked on Napoleon Dynamite. They were all friends of mine. I ran in a similar circle with them. I was just hanging out with John here like 2 weeks ago from Napoleon Dynamite. And this film, Nacho Libre, was his kind of follow-up film. Like Napoleon Dynamite did super well. Mm-hmm. And so Jared Hess went on to make this movie. So again, I'm not like name dropping. I know Jared. I don't. I've never met him. I've never worked with him. But like, I run in the circle of like all the people that made that movie. So I have all the like behind the scenes of things that went on.
The inside scoop.
And so it's really weird that I'd never seen this movie before because it was like this follow-up to and I love Jack Black. I love Jared Hess's stuff. And it's weird that I'd never seen this, and I will never watch it again. But we'll get into more of that moving on.
Well, this movie also did really good in the box office.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Okay.
Next slide. Oh. I forgot I put this in.
That's a blank slide.
So, like you, I did my homework.
That surprises me.
I know. Like you gave me this homework like 2.5 months ago.
Okay, it doesn't surprise me anymore. That's about that. That's a pretty solid turnaround.
It may have been more, but
okay.
Let's see what this slide has to offer. Reels in the round on the rectangular. You ready for the next part?
I am.
Rigel read.
What is a rigel, Ronan?
So it's Maltese, and it means leg or legged.
And reed means...
It's Irish for object.
The rigel reed is the legged object.
Yes.
In Baltic and Irish?
Maltese.
Maltese.
Yes.
We might be trying too hard at this point. On the rectangular rigel reed. The trilingual title of this podcast.
Although I didn't see any word for four that starts with an R, so we'll just have to keep it at legged object.
You might just want to go back to reels in the round. Whatever. We'll live. So moving right along. Okay. So yeah, there he is. Our pal, Jared Hess. Obviously known for Napoleon Dynamite. It's a breakthrough film. We're going to talk a lot about that today.
Okay.
Then I went on to Masterminds, this, of course, and then Gentlemen Broncos is a little bit more of a more current thing. Have you seen anything else he's done? You said you don't remember Napoleon Dynamite, but you think you've seen it.
Yep.
Have you seen Gentlemen Broncos?
No.
So this really is kind of your
Jared Hess
introduction. Okay.
And something I didn't put on here, but it's a Jack Black was the producer
That doesn't surprise
or
me.
one of the
even a
producers,
little bit. That doesn't surprise me even a little bit. Okay.
and it was made by Nickelodeon.
Really?
Yep. While you're using the bathroom for like the beginning credits, the first thing that popped up was a Nickelodeon production.
So Nickelodeon is Viacom, and Viacom is also Paramount and MTV and like a lot of things. But I wonder why of all of their sub brands it was Nickelodeon. That's
I don't know. I mean, it was kind of like a children's movie.
It was, I guess. I mean, especially of the time, it was a very late '90s. This was 2006,
Yep.
but it was a very late '90s kind of gack floam
Mhm.
vibe. Okay, I buy that.
Like even at the end, instead of kissing the girl, like she just gives a thumbs up.
The romance was very 8th grade.
Yes.
Checking in with a real life 7th grader. Going into 7th, going into 8th, going into 7th.
Going-
You should know this, Kirk. You should
I
know
should,
this.
but I'm a bad father. Our audience understands that by this time. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was very cringy and weird.
I think that actually sums it up really well. I was going to ask you to expound, but I think, did you have a favorite part?
No.
Did you have a least favorite part?
No.
I thought she was going to say the entire movie.
Was there a part you felt the most uncomfortable?
Everything.
So between the credits, from the beginning to the end, you
I
were the
guess
most
so.
uncomfortable. Okay. Was there a part that you were the least uncomfortable?
The credits.
Everything. I honestly don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so we got Jack Black, School of Rock, epically good movie. Be Kind, Rewind, High Fidelity, spelled wrong, but okay.
Oh yeah, I did. Oh, and another thing I didn't put on there, which you probably know since you're a Jack Black fanboy, apparently. No.
Not really, but yeah.
Oh, he's in a rock band.
Yes.
It's in Tenacious D.
Are you really tacking that on like an extra fact?
Right.
That's like,
I'm sure she didn't know.
yes, that's probably true. She's also probably never heard of Tenacious D. Saying that Jack Black is also in a band called Tenacious D is a little bit like saying, did you hear that Paul McCartney was also in the Beatles, not just in Wings? Or you didn't even get that joke, did you?
I know who he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's Paul McCartney?
He's in the Beatles.
And?
Apparently the Wings.
Yeah. Saying like, did you know that Dave Grohl used to be in Nirvana? That is the level of Jack Black's also in Tenacious D. You think that's what got him started? Like, yes, I did know, in fact, that Jack Black was in Tenacious D.
Good job. Good job. I'm proud of you, Kirk.
I worry about you, man. I do. So Ana de la Reguera? I'm sorry. As Sister Encarnacion.
Yeah.
She is in Narcos. She was in Narcos and Army of the Dead and Goliath. Hector Jimenez Esquileto. Who was he in Wild Hogs? Trying to think. That was a funny movie. Epic movie and Sin Nombre. And then Darius Rose is Gancho, Bruce Almighty, Lower Learning, and Mr. Sadman. Okay. Have you seen anything up there
Yeah.
other than School of Rock and Be Kind Rewind? Have you seen School of Rock?
Not exactly sure.
Okay, School of Rock's amazing. Everyone should see School of Rock.
I've seen it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so there's a lot of good movies. Narcos is awesome. Wild Hogs is fun. Bruce Almighty is great. Okay. There's a couple other cool things. There are a few actors that were in Nacho Libre that were also in Napoleon Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Efren Ramirez being the biggest one. He was Pedro, vote for Pedro, in Napoleon Dynamite. And this, he was the really mean friar, the one who's like, I had diarrhea for 3 months.
Yes.
Like that was
The one with the terrible mustache.
right. That's Efren Ramirez. And, like, I was like, I'm glad that he carried over with Jared Hess.
Mhm.
I'm actually a little bit sad that some of the other actors, like that John Heater himself wasn't somewhere in here, at least. Like, I know they were trying to like break free, but I get the impression, and Jared, I don't want to speak for you, but this film, do you know who Wes Anderson is?
Sounds familiar.
So Wes Anderson, he got to start off with a movie called Bottle Rocket. that not as many people have seen. He then went on to a movie called Rushmore, that was his breakout film. He then went on to a movie called The Royal Tenenbaums, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and then subsequent more and more films. I really like his style. His style is nothing like Jared Hess's, but like Jared Hess's, is very quirky and weird. Like it has a very distinct flavor to it. You're watching it. I could turn on a Wes Anderson film that I've never seen before, and in under 2 minutes, I'd be like, oh, this is a Wes Anderson film. If it took me 2 minutes to figure out, it would probably take me 30 seconds. Is like the colors, the style, the sounds. This is Wes Anderson.
I see.
In that same way, I'm not just trying to say that Jared Hess just remade Napoleon Dynamite. This film had a lot of the same
aspects
textures and kind of quirkiness that Napoleon Dynamite did.
I see.
But the thing that Wes Anderson does that's really fun is that all of his films have the same 10 people in them. Like, in different... Kevin Smith does the same thing. All his films have the same 10 people in them. I really wished that I could have seen a little bit more of the Napoleon Dynamite, like, in that it was such the same vibe. Like, I would have loved a little bit more of the Wes Anderson kind of not lather and repeat, because this needed to be a different thing.
Yeah.
But it would have been really cool if there was John Heder was in here somewhere, as Efren Ramirez was. Had they, his brother Kip or something. Tina Majorino was already up on Veronica Mars doing awesome things. Diedrich Bader was the star of he already had a big career. But I would have loved to see a little bit more Napoleon Dynamite characters in this, just because it was such a fun time. But I think everyone's just too busy. I will say, as much smack as I was talking at the top, Jared's a really good director. And this film really did have a very distinct and fun style. The music I thought was good. The editing, which you pointed out several times, with the lots of circle wipes and stuff, was just kitschy and fun. It was different.
Quirky.
It was quirky. I'd say something like stupid here, like, I think they really overplayed their hand. Like, the overacting was really bad. But the thing is that the overacting in Napoleon Dynamite is what made it good. So, like, I will say that what this suffered from is it didn't work twice. And I don't know why. I honestly, I really enjoy Napoleon Dynamite. I've seen it a lot. This film had all of the same moving pieces. I'm not sure why it didn't work. I'm wondering if it was because Jack Black's physical style of comedy mixed with Jared Hess's kind of more low-key, because Napoleon Dynamite is not physical comedy particularly. I'm wondering if those two things just didn't mesh well. I don't know. But I will say that I did not enjoy this film. But I don't think that was anyone's fault. I just think that the pieces didn't... Like,
the combination was just you?
The combination that was so magical in Napoleon Dynamite was a little alchemical. It was a little alchemist, and not in a good way. Did not turn lead into gold. Turned lead into other types of lead.
I will also say that, like, Jack Black just, like, really showing, like, you could really see a lot of Jack Black in this film. Not because he was the star, but, like, the style and everything.
Absolutely. And I think that, for the record, and I love Jack Black, I think that's what happened. Is that I think... It
was a little bit too Jack Black?
No, so I remember back in post-film school, we talked about how there were Adam Sandler films, and then there was films with Adam Sandler in them. And, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, those were Adam Sandler films, where Punch Drunk Love, that is a film that has Adam Sandler. I love Punch Drunk Love, but no one watches Punch Drunk Love and says, oh man, that is a great Adam Sandler film. No. And I think what happened here is Jared Hess made a Jared Hess movie, and Jack Black made a Jack Black movie. And those two things did not work together.
I see.
Because, like, Jack Black and his crazy, zany, weird in School of Rock, I love it. And I loved Napoleon Dynamite. I just think that those two things
just didn't mix well.
They just didn't work well here.
So you think, like, someone else could have played Nacho, or?
Yes, I guess that is. I'm saying that I think that if Nacho had not relied so much on the over-the-top zaniness, I think that if Nacho had not relied so much on the over-the-top physicality of Jack Black, and had played a little bit more to the Jared Hess awkward physical comedy, because I don't want to say that Napoleon Dynamite wasn't a physical comedy, but it wasn't a Jack Black physical. It was it's very awkward. So Leslie Weplow says, going to try to pin this comment on the screen. Boop. It's not letting me because...
How rude.
Nope, it's really not letting me, so sorry. It says, okay, but this came out before Jack Black really established as a style or character. And so at the time this came out, it was just annoying. It's hard. I have avid presentism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. This came out in 2006.
Yep.
I'm trying to. So Tenacious D was really big. I already knew who Jack Black was, but you're right. This was pre-School of Rock. I'm almost positive. I did already know who Jack Black was, though. This wasn't like who's this guy?
Yeah.
And I knew. I'm trying to think of. You know what? I have the ability to look this up.
Just gonna give it to Google.
I'm trying to think of what I knew him from, because I think that is a remarkably good point to Leslie. Is that Jack Black was early, if not pre his. Okay, so he'd already done High Fidelity, which we were going to watch today.
Mm-hmm.
He'd already done that 6 years earlier.
2000.
Oh no, and he'd already done School of Rock in 2003, 3 years earlier. So I don't know that I agree, because School of Rock, I mean, High Fidelity. John Cusack, he was a secondary character. He was a supporting character,
mm-hmm.
but it was a John Cusack, Stephen Frears film and was huge. School of Rock was already massively successful, and he was the absolute lead. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny was coming up. Let's see here. Where was this? I'm looking for it. Oh, got to go further back. This is the same year he did The Holiday. That would be a perfect example. If you've seen The Holiday, if you haven't, check it out. The Holiday is one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Okay.
And in that, Jack Black is in The Holiday. He is not Jack Black in it. He is a very normal human being who plays a kind of quirky love interest that you really like. You're like, hey, that's my quirky friend Ronan. Not like, but he made this the same year as The Holiday. He'd already been in King Kong. Again, wasn't over the top him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he'd already been in The Anchorman. He's the guy that punts Ron Burgundy's dog off the bridge. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's a solid point for. I think that's a solid point to Leslie, but at the same time, it was. Yeah, High Fidelity. It was just. I think that this will. I will say that this was probably School of Rock. He was the lead of, but he was a quirky. This was by far his furthest, most over the top character.
I see.
And I'm just this off the top of my head. Until Jumanji,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little bit of an exception for obvious reasons, I don't think he did it again. All of his characters, like Dewey was kind of the straight man rocker all the way through. He plays these kind of over the top characters, but they're all Jack Black. I think that Nacho,
Mm-hmm.
Ignacio, is by far the most
over the top,
and I'm wondering if that didn't temper him down. Like Jim Carrey did the same thing. Jim Carrey did Cable Guy, and it really hurt his career, and he dialed it back. Like he was like,
Mm-hmm.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, Cable Guy, let's bring that back. I went a little far. Anyway, I want to ask you more questions, Piper.
Yes.
So
Beware.
No, I want you to tell me about a scene you like and what you thought.
Okay.
I want thoughts.
Let me think.
7th grade insights of a movie that came out before you were born. It's by 1 year. This movie came out the year before you were born.
So the year Salem was born?
The year Salem was born.
Okay. Well, the part when he was trying to impress the girl, I forgot her name.
The entire movie? Okay, yes.
No. When he was like...
Oh, in the nice clothes?
Yeah, when
and
he
like
was
lunging
lunging, and he was
and
like...
clenching his butt in the tight fence. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a funny scene or an awkward scene?
Very weird.
Cringy?
Both.
In between.
Okay.
Very cringy. In my opinion, I definitely would not go for a person that would do that. He's weird.
You heard it here, folks. Okay. I can appreciate that. Let's go to the next slide.
Oh, and what I will say, the singing from when he was singing to the number 1 or number 2, since he beat him, that was actually Jack Black singing.
Again, he's in a band.
Yeah.
He is a musician first.
Okay, let's carry on. Budget. 35 million. Generated 99.3 million.
I really would love to know the time period of that. Is it in the first year or the? That is, I mean, again, this was not a flop. I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. It was just not your style.
Well, no, and the thing is that like it did get critically panned. I mean,
yeah,
40%, 52%, 5.8. Like we do this every week. We get things
rookie numbers
as low as 40%, but the highest thing it has is a 58, a 5.8. It didn't do well from a critical standpoint. It made money, but so did G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. And that film is indefensible. It was Jack Black and a follow-up to Napoleon Dynamite. They didn't have to do much to get people to come see it because Napoleon Dynamite had been just a cultural sensation, and Jack Black was on his meteoric rise. I think that those are not fake numbers, but they are not real numbers. It could have been 90 minutes of Jack Black making like minstrel noises and singing at the camera, and it would have made the same amount of money.
I see. Because
it really was leveraging a very activated, very built-in audience. That having been said, still good numbers.
Yeah, not bad. And awards won, film music by BMI Film and TV Awards.
That's my point. So you know my thing, culture, critics, and cash.
Mm-hmm.
It has literally one of the three.
Yes.
It got nothing awards, and ratings, it was terrible. There's no cult classic to this. Mm-hmm. There's no, like, it made some money, and I think that I think that is false numbers. Not false numbers, but, like, they didn't have to do anything for that.
It was just because of piggybacking.
It was piggybacking off of an activated audience on two different stars. It should have been a wild success, but it was not.
So next question.
Yeah.
I think I already know your answer, but I'm still going to ask just so you can yell at me.
Nah.
So one of the YouTube like TV shows or so that I watch, it is Kevin Hart, and he, with his celebrity friends, he does a whole bunch of exercises and like athletic things with them. He did an episode with Jack Black.
Cool. Yes, they are friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing pickup basketball. And when they're trying to join someone else's team, they're like, "Fine, you're not going to be in Nacho Libre 2."
To Jack Black or to Kevin Hart?
No, like Jack Black told the person that wasn't responding to them about being in the pickup game. So, opinions on a Nacho Libre 2?
Hard pass. That having been said, there are times that a callback to something like this can be really funny and really well done, especially if you are trying to pole vault off previous success that wasn't there. It's sad. But if you're trying to like riff on yourself in a way, like there have been times that the first movie wasn't great and they use that and kind of move on.
Yeah.
I think that a Nacho Libre 2, especially now that it is 13 years later, I think could be interesting if they played off of that in a The Mask of Zorro sort of way.
Yeah, it would be interesting, like if they're gonna go like more international, if they're just gonna like travel to a different place in Mexico.
Are they really doing that, or was that just a joke?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was just a joke.
It may be, but it could still be a case.
I mean, I probably would see it 13 years after it came out, as I did with this one. But yeah, with comedies. So it's important to know something weird about Kirk. I don't like comedies.
Yeah,
I love funny movies, but if a movie set out to be funny, like that is its goal, I almost never think it's funny. I think it's almost always trying too hard, which I think I thought of this as well. But I love quirky. I love witty. I love, makes you laugh at yourself. But movies that are intended to be funny, like with the exception of Anchorman, which is my guilty pleasure, and Hot Rod, because it's just ridiculous and absurd and it makes me laugh. For the most part, I don't tend to like comedies.
Yeah.
That having been said, this movie is a great example of why. I don't like it.
Yeah. That reminds me of another like question that I asked you a while back ago.
Okay.
It was about the I don't think you've seen this one. It was about 100 Ways to Die in the West.
No, I've not.
Yeah.
Because again,
for that same reason.
As brilliant as I find that Seth, not Myers, that guy, like I've watched Family Guy. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant comedian.
MacFarlane, I think. Is it MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's brilliant. I truly do. That is not an equivocation. That's not. I think he's brilliant. I think that his social commentary is awesome. I watched Ted the other day for the first time. I did not enjoy it.
Haven't seen it yet.
But I got why it was good.
Mhm.
I get why he is popular. I get why he is so. Why his films do so well. I do get it.
Mhm.
I don't enjoy it. So like everyone's like, "Oh, did you see 100 Ways to Die in the West?" I was like, "No, I didn't." And that's not. It's not because I won't like it, and I'm wrong. I'll admit that up front. Like I'm not saying like, "Oh gosh, it's garbage. Why does everyone hate it? Everyone is so stupid." No. I worked in film acquisitions for a long time. I understand what sells. I understand why things work. I work in messaging and I work in messaging and communications now. I really do get why people like it. I am just not one of them.
It's just not your style.
It's just not me. It's just not me. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything to add?
So our resident schooler, since
Yeah. So because
yeah, what would you rate it?
yes.
Like,
But
grade it.
if you were a teacher, Ms. Westwood,
Yes.
if you were grading this,
And this was like a test.
and you were the film studies teacher, and someone came and brought you this, what would you grade it?
Like A, B, C, D.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or number.
Or number, you can give it a number grade. Like
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10.
50, which is for the record what basically everyone else did.
Yeah.
It's like it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad.
Give me give me the rubric of it. Give it the things that it did well. Give it the things you think that it did
Okay.
poorly.
Well, I can't really think of anything, but it was really weird and
Good answer.
I like how he was trying hard to help the orphans.
Let's go with that. Let's talk with morals and messaging. Did the story have a good moral?
Huh?
You know what a moral is? Was there a good point to the movie? Did it make you want to be a better person?
I mean, it was a good
Help the orphans.
Helping the orphans from
Yeah.
people that steal chips.
Actually, the chip stealer was his manager in the end. So
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
I can't think of it.
I mean, I guess in a way it goes with like one of the most famous sayings, which I'm totally gonna get wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. I can think of two. If you can't beat them, join them.
Okay. Yep.
And second one,
Then beat them. If you
Fair.
can't beat them, join them.
yeah.
Then beat them. Continue. With a stick.
I mean, I totally forgot how this one goes, but
Obviously.
maybe you can help me with it. Like the make your enemies closer than your friends, or
Oh,
something
keep
like
your
that.
friends closer, your enemies closer.
Yes. I mean, that's basically what he did. He made the first thug.
He made a strategic
made the manager.
ally. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Strategic ally. And I think they became friends by the end.
Yeah.
They became the Batman
even though he won in the end.
Absolutely. Is this the last slide?
It is the last slide.
So you liked the movie.
I did like the movie. It was probably like my style
And
of
I
comedy.
have very different styles, and that's fine.
Then again, since I also liked A Million Ways to Die in the West, you said you don't care for it.
I haven't seen it. Like I said,
Alright.
I just don't like this style of comedy.
Like that's probably what did it.
What are we watching next week,
But
Rowan?
I will say, well,
Yeah.
before we do that, I will say with this one, it's a bit overused with the circle transition.
He did beat the living crap out of the circle transition. He was like, I found a button, and I'm going to keep pushing it until I die.
He probably had a hotkey for it.
Yeah, like seriously, he went a little heavy on the circle transition. Jeff
I'm
and
not even sure if I used the circle transition,
Yeah.
but
So Jeff and I were just watching some different people that had used different on YouTube, like editing compilations of people that had done editing things. Like, what are you doing? And some of them were like back in the day. So Jeff and I both were in the high school in the 90s, and that was very early in the digital non-linear editors, which is now the standard. But at the time, it was very new. And so there was a lot of like one of them was called the video toaster. If you have heard of the video toaster and you are watching this, hit me up in the comments. I love you. So Jeff and I were both trained on the video toaster. And the video toaster had effects that were absurd.
It's like the star transition.
Like stars, page wipes, starbursts, glitter coming down. Because like they had just figured out how to do it,
Yeah.
and they, and so there was a few people that were that went through school with us that just like they found a button. And they were just going to keep on throwing stuff at it because this is how I'm going to show people I know what I'm doing. I'm going to use these transitions until I die. And it was just ridiculous. But that's this did feel a little bit like he's like, you found the circle transition.
Yeah.
You're like, stop it. I
wonder if it's his favorite transition.
Yeah.
But hopefully they don't use it if they ever do make a Nacho Libre too.
No. I was working with an older guy a few years ago, and he edited a thing for himself because our editing services were like, and he's like, oh, I'll just edit it myself.
Yeah. And
he returned it to me, and it was basically a slideshow. Like he'd use little clips and videos and mostly pictures. Mm-hmm. And he did like page peel and dissolve and starburst. And he's like, doesn't it look so professional? I'm like,
totally.
Sure does. So what are we watching next week? Is next week High Fidelity?
Correct. Or up to you.
No, so I mean, last week this week was Jack Black. So next week we can stick with Jack Black. That'll be the theme that we're running on for a minute. Because then, I mean, we can
do School of Rock.
We could go to School of Rock. There's a couple of we could go to Biodome and hit Pauly Shore films because Tenacious D, not Jack Black, but the band Tenacious D is in Biodome.
I see.
With one of the Baldwins and Pauly Shore. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think we could hit Jack Black for a few weeks. I think that could be fun. Next week will be interesting. Again, this is not me name dropping. It's just here. Like this week, I knew a lot of people that made Napoleon Dynamite, and so I had interesting. I have had lunch with Stephen Frears. It did not go well. So next week, as we're talking High Fidelity by Stephen Frears,
you're just gonna talk trash him.
I'm not going to talk trash. I'm just going to out him for the pretentious asshole that he is.
I see.
I'd tell you why I think that, but that you have no reason to come back next week. But no, yeah, Stephen Frears and I had lunch in Cannes in the French Riviera in 2005. Dead serious. Like, yeah. So I met him at the Cannes Film Festival, and we had lunch in 2005. And it didn't go well, and it's mostly because he's a pretentious jackass.
Is that the one that you asked the question and then he gave you like the really simple answer? And like the why did you do that?
Yes, like I asked a very valid question, and he didn't only not answer the question, he dismissed the question as moronic, and then proceeded to like not berate me, but like act how stupid the question was. Like, first off, I'm 24. Like, I mean, again, I'm not saying like the man was like a billion then. He'd been making movies since the early 70s. It's 2005. I was actively in film school at the time. I was there on a Paramount internship, working for Paramount Acquisitions. So I was an acquisitions intern, and I asked a question that I feel was remarkably valid. I'm not saying the question is on purpose. We will get to that next week. I asked a question that was remarkably valid. And he not only didn't answer it, but he proceeded to berate me for several minutes on the stupidity of the question. And I'm like,
sounds like it would be something that would happen here.
You ask really stupid questions. My question was completely valid. No, but yeah, it was good times. It was good times.
Good times.
We will talk about that story as we talk about High Fidelity next week.
Can't wait.
And for the record, he did tell me he ended up telling. I was there with about 4 people. It wasn't like me and Steven. It was like me and a group of 5 students that had gotten selected to have lunch with Steven first. We had been selected because we were part of this internship program. So it wasn't like me and a panel. It was literally him and me. It was a table this big. It was Steven Frears and 4 students, and we got to talk to him for like an hour and a half. It was really, really cool.
I see.
But we got to ask questions about, this was 2005, and as we just learned, High Fidelity was 2000. Like, we got to talk about him working with Jack Black and his method. So I have some cool insights there. So next week, we will talk High Fidelity.
So you're going to tell us all about Jack Black, eh?
Just in High Fidelity. That's like, I only know some interesting anecdotes from Jack Black through Stephen Frears' pretentious mouth. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. We will all see it. Say goodnight, Piper.
Good night,
Piper.
Piper.
I was waiting for that.
Piper.
Awesome. And this is I've been Kirk.
And I've been Ronan.
And this has been Reels in the Round. I'm not saying it. I'm not doing it. First off, I don't know
what?
that I could even pronounce all of that. That was long words.
Here. There's some hope. There it is again.
Reels in the round on the rectangular regularian.
I think it's just read. I don't know.
I don't know. If you know how to pronounce that,
If you're Irish
call in.
or Maltese,
Red.
I didn't know that Maltese was a language.
you learn something new every day.
We will see you all next
Thank
week.
you, Google Translate.